Hey, what's up? I'm Mike Rosica. I wanted to chat real quick about how we're going to be releasing this podcast. And since both Drew Paul Bell and myself have pretty active YouTube channels, what we've decided to do is to split it up. So on the Young Architect YouTube channel, I'm going to post all of the episodes that are even numbered. So, episode 0, episode 2, 4. I'm going to post all the even numbered episodes. And Drew Paul Bell's going to take all the odd numbered episodes and post them on his channel. And so to make it easy, so you're not bouncing back and forth all these different episodes, I would first say both subscribe to both the Young Architect and the Drew Paul Bell YouTube channels. But what both of us are going to do is we've created a playlist on each of our YouTube channels called the Mike and Drew Architecture Podcast. And in that playlist, it's got all the episodes listed. And even though Drew Paul Bell, posted episode 3 on his channel, I can still add that to the playlist and have it sequential. And to make it even easier, I've created links, 2 links. I have youngarchitect.com/Mike, which will take you to the playlist on Young Architect channel, and youngarchitect.com/Drew, which will take you to the same playlist on Drew's channel. In some ways, it doesn't even matter whose playlist you're watching because they're the same exact videos. And so that's how we're going to do it is, Young Architect will post the even, Drew's got the odd numbers. And then in a couple of weeks down the road, after we get this playlist, this podcast kind of rolling out a little bit faster, we're going to strip the audio. We're just going to take the audio from all these and we're going to actually put it out as a podcast, the same way we publish the Young Architect podcast. We'll post it on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. We'll get it out there. But for now, we're just releasing these on YouTube. So that's how we're doing it. And I hope you enjoy the new show. Take care, everyone. We're back. How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Pretty good. We launched the podcast today. Today was the day we got it out there. Yep. Finally. It's been, how long have we been doing this for?
Dude, everything in the coronavirus seems like an eternity. I think it was, I don't know. It feels like April, but April also feels like it was 6 months ago and more like.
Yeah, it's been going on a long time, Drew. What's weird too is not every time, like a lot of times you and I just hang out and just chit chat. We don't actually record a podcast. So there's been, more sessions that aren't official, but yeah, we're live now. I'm excited. I'm excited to get this thing out the door and just push through these episodes. So as we mentioned in the other videos, we're going to post them on, I guess I'm going to post the even episodes and Drew's going to post the odd episodes and we'll just kind of bounce back and forth. And then both of us will have playlists that will have the latest video. So that's how we're going to do it. What's going on, man? Any news report?
I think in the last several episodes, I have complained about getting a building permit in New Rochelle, and we finally have the damn building permit. And I'm so relieved because I was so stressed out like last week. I think we ended up not recording last week. It seemed like shit just kept hitting the fan, and it was like one thing after another. She was asking for a section drawing after we had submitted for like the 3rd or 4th time, but we finally got everything added, finally got it in, and finally had the building permit. So we're starting construction pretty soon now. It seemed like this was never going to happen, but yeah. So we had a meeting today with the client and the contractors, and what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to like tear up some of the site and do some demo. Then we got to have the inspector come in. And now it's got me nervous about what happens when these inspectors are coming in because, it's the same city that was so picky about the drawings in the first place. Mm-hmm. I'm a little concerned about how this is going to go, but we'll see. And at the end of the day, it's going to be the contractors who have to deal with that. So,
well, the plan reviewer and the inspector are different people,
Right.
So it might not be an issue.
Yeah.
So
fingers crossed. I think things are going to turn out okay. Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. What about you? What's up with you?
Not much, not a whole lot. I've been, we're getting ready. We just launched tickets last week. We opened tickets for last week for the Young Architect Winter Series. And then yesterday, we opened up a call for proposals for workshop speakers. you know, we have a list of topics people gave us they wanted to see at the next event. So we share that list with people and say, is there anything else that are you an expert in something that's not even on this list? Like, what is it? And we created a whole process, a whole form that people fill out. But one of the things that we're doing differently this time is we're asking people to make like a 60 to 90 minute video, kind of just pitching their idea to us. And because I don't know, it's an online digital conference. We're talking to each other through computers. So, why not just make it let us see you talk to the computer and the camera, and help us get a feel for who you are and want to present. So, I made kind of a sample video of the workshop I'm going to do. I'm going to do a workshop around content creation and understanding who your audience is and how to create content and craft it for that audience and make it engaging. And, it's really about building an audience. So I made a video, like a 90-minute video kind of doing that. And then Danielle, ripped it apart and broke it down and kind of shared a bunch of insights to kind of help people understand what we're looking for and seeing in that. So, we got that out the door today. And now we're waiting for people to submit to be speakers at the Young Architect Winter Series. So we're taking proposals for Keynote or for workshops. And then as far as the keynotes go, I usually just hand select them. That's how we do it.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's a good touch too. Asking people to submit the videos because it's obviously a digital conference and it's something where they're going to have to present on video anyway. One thing I've been thinking about recently has been how it seems like there's a certain set of skills that you need to be successful in the profession, regardless of what profession you're in, even if you're in just generic corporate America. And I don't think that they teach those to you really well in architecture school. And one of the things I don't think they teach anybody is how to do video, you know, and now we find ourselves in this coronavirus shutdown where it's like, oh, surprise, surprise, we got to be on video conferences all day long.
Yeah.
I was literally on 3 video conferences today before lunch. And, that's a skill, and getting to practice with that is, first of all, it's good to practice. Second of all, if you're asking someone to be a speaker, then it's important too that they're really good at that. So
yeah. Did you ever take public speaking when you were in school?
I did, but I thought it was such a bad public speaking class. I felt like I didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah.
I think it was a third or half of the class meetings were other people giving speeches.
Yeah.
We each had to give 3 speeches, which I guess is reasonable, but it's like we spent all the time listening to random speeches, not learning stuff. And she told us to we had to have every single word typed out. We had to basically read from a script, which I don't find those speakers engaging. Mm-hmm. And the one valuable thing was we had to do this exercise where we had to speak in front of everybody. And she had this this metal or this big plastic cup, and she had a penny that she'd drop in the plastic cup every time you said or something like that, some verbal tick like that. And so it was good to become cognizant of that. That was a cool exercise, I guess. But other than that, I really don't feel like I learned much from the public speaking thing. I've seriously considered joining Toastmasters because I think I want to.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that too, to join Toastmasters, just because I'm addicted to public speaking. And I was going on those tours and speaking in different cities all the time. And I think I did, I did 68 public speaking engagements in 2019 because I was just constantly on the road talking to groups of people. And that doesn't even count boot camp and the orientations that I do on a weekly basis. So it was constant. I took a public speaking class at my first year of architecture school. And I was at the Boston Architecture Center from some crazy dude that they brought in. And it was, I got a lot out of it, but that was a long time ago. But yeah, they don't really teach public speaking. And I remember beginning architecture school, I was terrified of all the presentations. And it was like, oh my God, I got to present my work in front of this group of people. And then by the end, I didn't give a crap. I just got up there and just started talking. And I was so comfortable by the end. And then I graduated, and all that stuff just got beaten out of me. And, reality set in, and I went into the workforce, and then public speaking as I started to get back into it with my young architect career, it scared the crap out of me. But yeah, I conquered it, and I'm like addicted to it now. I get like
Nice.
I get an adrenaline rush from it.
That's cool. I wouldn't say I'm addicted to it, but I want to be much better at it. Yeah, man, it's going back to kind of like what I've been thinking about a lot like the last few days has been how like what are your deliverables? Like we have deliverables in architecture school,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of carry that with us out into the profession. And then you think, okay, well, drawings. I'm making a drawing set now that I'm a professional rather than a poster when you're a student. But I mean, we're not always creating posters even in the profession, and sometimes we're literally just doing like Excel sheets. So how do you really present stuff? And
Mm-hmm.
I've come to realize the way we do it at our office. I mean, you can call it a deck, you can call it a PowerPoint presentation, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, is essentially something like that. I have a meeting tomorrow with some clients. We got to present some big programming analysis, and we also have this PDF that shows different types of workstations.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be changes that happen with our program and our test fit, but in our budget. But ultimately, we have this tangible thing that we're presenting, right? And so it's like if you're going to be successful at architecture or the profession, you kind of have to be good at creating PowerPoints, creating Excel sheets,
Yeah.
having this kind of deliverable, this tangible thing that displays what you did in a way that your client understands the value of it. Is not just enough to say, oh yeah, well, I know that because we did it on some, ugly looking Excel sheet buried in our file folder. It's like, you got to show it to the boss's boss. And then you can say, hey, we did all this work. Here it is. And then it feels like you're selling them something tangible. But the same thing goes for public speaking too, though, right? Because it's like, yeah, you could know it really well, but if you can't present it, then, I mean, speaking is just another way of packaging your ideas.
Yeah.
You could package it a million ways: drawings, a book, a speech, whatever.
Drew, you gave a fantastic keynote at the Young Architect Conference in Portland, Oregon. How much prep went into preparing for that?
Quite a bit. I would say, well, it was funny, man, because I feel like I think I changed it all like 2 weeks before, and I felt like that was kind of cutting it close because
Yeah.
I knew about I tell this story all the time, but like I knew about the conference before just about anyone else. I mean, you were
Yeah.
talking to me and
Yeah.
a few other people up here in New York, and so I kind of had like a year and a half warning to know I'm gonna have to deliver some keynote address, and I still fumbled the ball into the last minute. I mean, I started trying to work something out. It would have been summertime. I think it was early summertime. I remember having a call with some people to work it out, and then so that was probably May or June,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was in August. So 3 or 4 months before was when I started thinking about it, but I wasn't orderly enough about it. And I'm trying to change this a little bit. Sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to talk about whatever I'm inspired to talk about. And that's worked out for a number of YouTube videos that have to be, 5 to 10 minutes long that I can do several different attempts at, and, just put out what works and not put out what doesn't work. But for this one, I was going to be on the spot to present live in a 25-minute presentation. So it had to be, significant, and 250 people right there. So I developed it I'd kind of come up with a few ideas I wanted to talk about, and then it was a matter of figuring out how to thread them all together.
Mm-hmm.
I practiced by shooting on my camera.
Oh, there you go.
And I did a few test runs, and I remember still at the beginning, I was like, this isn't going to work. How am I going to fill up all this time? And it was also that same process too that made me figure out that, let's say my first set of ideas wasn't going to work because I had an early idea for the talk. And then I realized I always kind of had some doubts about it. Once I finally tested it on video, I was like, yeah, this talk's not good. I got to switch it up. So I switched it up. And so I would say it was about 2 or 3 weeks prior that I put into that one in particular, but it was still brainstorming for a long time before then.
Yeah. Well, it was great. I mean, it came out great. I thought
Thank
it was
you.
fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks. I was happy with it. Um, yeah, I said a lot of the things I wanted to say, and yeah, I think it went really well.
One of the things that we did at the summer series is Danielle from my team, she's helped me. That's how I started working with her. Is she helped me with a lot of my presentations and my speaking. And, I went on public speaking on steroids and just went bananas with it. And she was a big part of helping making that happen. But with the summer series, with all the keynote speakers, she connected with them and helped kind of coach them and helped kind of the story of what the summer series is. And each keynote speaker kind of try to help create a cohesive message that was moving through day to day from different speaker and help them kind of tighten up and dial in their presentations. And so I've spoken at a lot of conferences, and I've never been to a conference that really kind of tries to see that messaging kind of come through with all the different speakers and really tries to help bring it to the next level. So yeah, we're going to be doing that again this year for the winter series.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important to understand too, not only from the macro, but also from the micro, right? Like within each speech, kind of each little story you tell has to be on message and kind of share the same thesis. That was the thing about mine, going back and looking at the recording that you gave me. I felt like I shared a bunch of little stories and tried to thread them all together. And there were some transitions I felt like I needed to do a little bit better, but that's just me being picky. But I tried to make sure that everything kind of harkened back to like the main idea. But it's amazing though that you could do that at the level of the whole conference too, that you could get each of these things. Not only does each little story within each speech go back to that lecture, but also, each lecture goes back to the message for the whole conference.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, were you able to catch any of the keynotes from the summer series?
Yeah, I think I saw several of them. I remember one delays, and then I remember the one the first day, where she talked about moving to Dell Tech, and
yeah,
it was like finding a job in uncertain times.
Yeah, we even did I think 2 or 3 weeks before we did kind of like a dress rehearsal where all the keynote speakers and me and Joanna and Danielle and we just ran through all the keynote speeches just to make sure they were all tightened up and dialed in and
nice.
Got used to all the technology too. It's so different speaking to a computer than it is speaking to a room full of people. So
yeah, do you feel like it translates? All right, see, because I felt like I had practiced speaking on the computer for so long.
Yeah.
I was able to kind of translate that into some confidence on the stage. It helped me, I feel like, but it is very different. But do you feel, I never thought about if it would go the other way, because I feel like it's harder to go the other way actually now that I think about it.
You know what happened was when the COVID first started and I took my ARE lecture, I've given the ARE lecture all over the United States in different cities. And I've just got it I've done it so many times. I just got it in some ways on lockdown. I'm really familiar with it. I love giving it. And it was when COVID started, I said, all right, we're going to do webinars now. I'm going to do the same exact presentation, but as a webinar. And I remember the first time I did it, I gave a fantastic presentation, but after it was over, I felt like this sadness and I was just kind of okay, and you know what it was? It was just, I was depressed after it was over. It was the fact that I couldn't see people's faces. And I couldn't I feel like I can see people's expressions when I tell jokes, they laugh, I can hear them laugh. In some ways, I get that feedback from them. And as a speaker, I wasn't getting any feedback. And it was just oh my God, I don't know. So first time it happened, it hit me really hard. And after that, I've been more prepared and it's part of speaking online and not getting that kind of feedback. But
yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I struggled with that macro in the long run because that's kind of what I was always used to. Mm-hmm. And then I'd say that's one of the reasons why my channel has probably been a little dry the last few years, because it's kind of like no one's there. I mean, I know that they're watching because I see the numbers, but it's hard to know. It's hard to really have that connection. It's different than when you're there talking. And I would say that was really cool. That's one of the things I enjoyed the most about being at the conference. It was that, you share these ideas with these people, and then you get to connect with them afterwards and like talk with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like, some text and a comment. It's like real people. It's awesome.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. It's weird doing everything online. But what was interesting about the summer series too was the chat was going crazy, and I could see while I don't know what the chat says, I could just see it moving and be like, all right. So I don't know. I felt like in some ways it was easier to get feedback like that, and it's just so great when we can see people's faces as well when we're talking. But yeah, it's a weird transition going from real life into speaking on a computer. So.
Yeah, I'd say too, I mean, for anybody listening who is like worried about presenting on the computer, because that's happening a lot now. I'll say something that I said during the conference, which is that when I started doing YouTube videos, it's hard to present. It's kind of dry because no one's there and you're not used to it, a myriad of reasons. I remember doing my first attempt at a video and I realized that like my screen presence was just terrible. Like you hear about like stage presence for actors or whatever. My screen presence was just not there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up doing a little 30-day challenge kind of thing where every day for 30 days, I talked to the video camera on my computer and I opened up like a photo booth and on the Mac and just literally just talked to the camera every day for 30 days. And the first day or two, I was super nervous and it was super awkward. But, over time, I actually got a lot better at it. I got better at the process of presenting my ideas verbally rather than just having this milieu, this soup of ideas in my mind. It was about presenting something in a way that other people would understand, presenting it in like complete sentences. Because I had the tendency when I was thinking in my own head to think halfway through a sentence and like, oh, I know what I'm thinking, and then leap to the next idea. But people can't understand that when you're telling that to someone. So after that practice, it was summer before my 5th year in architecture school. And I remember going back in the fall, presenting the first time I had to present a project for my studio class. It happened to be on the computer with a projector. And I remember doing the presentation and like realizing, hey, this is going really well because this is exactly what I've been practicing doing, talking in front of a computer. It's just that there's people behind the computer today. And I know that the presentation went great and I got a great grade and people, gave me a lot of compliments on it. And so I mean, we're sitting here talking about how important it is to be able to present on a computer, but like if you don't have that practice, definitely not too late. I mean, I think that the best way to get better at it is to do more of it and watch yourself, critique yourself, and then it's on camera. You can identify your little tics. You can identify how to improve. You got to go back and watch it though. That's the other important part. You can't just do it and then forget because then you're not going to get any better.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great key to help some people out.
Yeah. That's what I do. I talk to the computer. A lot of the videos I make, I record them 2 or 3 times, and sometimes more if my ideas are like half cooked.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do it imperfectly. I'll even hit record, even though I know we're not going to keep it. It's a throwaway. I'll even hit record, and I'll start doing it. And then as I start to say it more and more, and I start to figure out how the parts fit together, it's been huge. But yeah, using the camera as well.
And one of the other things I realized too was you figure out when you're doing well and you don't know when you're doing well. Cause I'll do multiple takes as well with my YouTube videos. And sometimes I start out and I'll be like, oh, that's not good. I'm gonna start again. And then I'm going back and I'm watching it to edit it and I forgot that I did that. I'm watching the recording. It's going fine. And then I just stop all of a sudden and I'm sitting here watching myself on the screen. I'm like, what are you doing? You were doing fine.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you don't even realize that. And now I catch other people doing that. Other people will be like presenting something or describing something to someone for whatever situation. I've seen some people presenting stuff and as practice and then saying, oh, this isn't good. I want to start over. And I'm like, no, you were doing fine. It's that same thing. I recognize it because it's the same thing I did. I didn't realize it was going okay. And I bailed and really should have just stuck in there and kept going.
Yeah. You know what was helpful for me with public speaking was yoga teacher training. Did you know I've gone through that, Drew?
I knew you did a lot of yoga stuff. I didn't know that
Yeah.
are you a certified yoga instructor?
Yeah. Not only did I do it once, I've done it twice. um,
Man, you're super certified.
it was actually, I was studying for my last exam, and I was like, it was just like a couple of years ago, and I was like, and they just launched this yoga teacher training. And I was like, ooh, I want to take the 200-hour yoga class. And I was like, I got to finish my exams. I got to finish it. And then I ended up doing it in 2015. And then right when,
The things you think about doing when you're busy taking the exams.
yeah. And then I loved it. It was incredible. But and that by that point, Young Architect had taken off. And as soon as I was done with yoga teacher training, one of my yoga teacher's husbands was a business coach. It was Michael Naus. And I said, I'm hiring you. I can't afford to hire you, but I'm hiring you anyways. And we got to figure out how to make Young Architect a thing. And so I did the teacher training in 2015. And then summer 2016, I rode my bike cross country, and I came back, and Michael Naus's wife was getting ready to do her own yoga teacher training. And I said, oh, I had so much fun at the first yoga teacher training. I love the 200-hour yoga class. And she's like, do it again. And so I ended up doing it a second time. And so that's like having 2 bachelor's degrees of architecture in the yoga world, having 2 200-hour yoga teacher certifications. But yeah, talking to a room full of people and kind of navigating them and driving them through the sequence and all the poses and breaking it all down is that helped in a big way too, with a lot of my public speaking, kind of talking to a big group of people.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never would have thought to go do that. But I thought you were going to go somewhere else. I thought you were going to say doing the yoga helped you with speaking, because I felt like I would do meditation a lot, especially back when I was in college. And I felt like that helped me as well, organize my thoughts and figure out how to kind of stay centered when you're presenting to people, and calm rather than letting your emotions kind of take over. And yeah, that helped me out tremendously.
Oh yeah, it's huge. Do you still meditate much, Drew?
Not much. I'm trying to. I think I did yesterday actually, and it's cool because like if I get off of work, my brain's totally fried. But if I can just chill out for 20 minutes rather than sitting on my phone, then I'm refreshed and I can go do more stuff that night. And so like I had a bunch of things I had to get done yesterday for a public speaking gig I got coming up and a couple of other things. So I did it last night, and I'm thinking about trying to incorporate it more often. But because it used to be a regular thing. It was like I'd come home to my apartment for lunch between my morning classes and afternoon classes. And it was like an everyday thing back in college. But after I graduated, I kind of fell off.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I do pretty regularly. I don't know. I've done so much meditation with my yoga thing and just in general. And but yeah, I still do pretty regularly. I wouldn't say I have a habit, a practice, a routine, but it happens on the regular. Back when I lived in New York, I did a transcendental meditation training.
I've heard about this. This sounds serious.
I fucking loved it. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was, one of my best friend from growing up got into transcendental meditation, and he was obsessed with it. It changed his life in a very positive way. And he was like, in some ways, he just like really felt like it just did a lot for him. And he almost kind of like became a better and a new person kind of coming out of it. After he like got into that, and he's still obsessed with it, but he always talked it's transcendental meditation. It's this, trademarked type of meditation, this and that. And in a weird way, like that's the part that kind of turned me off to it. And I was like, it has to be this way, and it has to be transcendental. And I was like, it's just meditation. And then when I was living in New York, there was a place, there was a center close by to where I was. And I said, I want to do the training. I knew a couple of people that have done it. I said, I want to go through, it's like a 3 or 4 day training. I said, I just want to do the training. I had the money, and I went and I did it, and I loved it. The training was incredible. I got a lot out of it. I did it for a long time. I still do it on the regular, but I don't do it the way they say, this is how you have to do it. I kind of like have changed and modified, and I don't follow the rules. I hate rules. So the minute they said that it has to be done this way, that created a conflict.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel a
So
similar kind of dissonance.
I got a lot out of it, and I still use it, but I don't do it by the way that they say I have to do it. So, but yeah, it's been, I can't recommend it enough. If you can, it was expensive. I think it was like $1,200 for a 3-day training or something like that. And, but I got a lot out of it, and it was really helpful. And it kind of, I thought it was really beautiful, actually, kind of that whole experience going through all that.
I would kind of like to do that.
Sure.
And back when I was in like high school or I don't know, early college, I would have thought I'd never do meditation. It sounded kooky and weird to me. But some people who I followed online who I really looked up to did it. And so I tried it out, and I felt like it really helped me out in studio. I think I have a video on my channel, one of my earlier videos on my channel talking about meditation and like how to meditate. And yeah, I think it's super helpful.
Yeah. It's just good to have downtime. I feel like we bombard ourselves. I remember when I used to work for the city of Portland, Oregon, I used to just get phone call after phone call, constant like stimulus, like, one thing after another. Like it was a roller coaster of emotions. And to just have a moment, I would go into a conference room, close the door, close the blinds, and I would just sit there and just close my eyes for minutes and to collect myself and like feel the vibrations of everything that's just attacked me all morning long. And then just kind of like recollect and center myself, and then, all right, walk out of there feeling good again, and let's get into it. So.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it on your podcast or on your boot camp thing that I did with you. I did the other time when I was meditating pretty frequently was when I was studying for the AREs. I would come home from work, I would do dinner, and then after I did the dishes, I would lay down on the couch, I'd meditate for like 20 minutes. And after a long day, sometimes it turned into a nap, but it didn't matter. It was exactly what you're talking about. It's about clearing your mind. Mm-hmm. And that was what enabled me to then get up and study for, 20 minutes to a couple of hours every single night and then pass the exams. So, because like after you've tried it, how like your mind is just full of all this junk. It's kind of like it's echoing around all the things from all day long, and you're kind of just zombied out. But if you can kind of clear your mind for a bit, then it's easier to kind of like, sometimes I felt like I had a second day. Like I was operating mm-hmm. more effectively, faster, better on whatever thing I was tackling that evening, studying wise. Or back when I was in college, it was like studio work. So yeah, clearing your mind is important. And if you never do it, then you don't realize it, because it's like boiling the frog slowly.
Yeah.
It's like as the day goes on, all these things get piled onto your brain, one thing after another after another.
Yeah, totally. We need to have downtime and just rest and just recoup.
Hey man, what's going on with the videos from the summer series?
Oh yeah. We've been working my butt off. Well, me and Chad have been working, actually mostly Chad. I can't take credit for all his hard work. Chad's been working his ass off. I've been helping out a little bit. He interviewed like all these people. I think we've talked about this. He did like 50 interviews with just various people from the summer series, and he interviewed them for like 15, 20 minutes, and we captured so many great stories from everyone. And so we're taking those interviews, and we're taking like a 1 to 2 minute segment from every single event. Remember, we did this with the conference. Remember the day videos? What happened on day 1? What happened on day 2? Day 3? Well, we've got 5 days for the summer series. And Chad, he's editing it all together and kind of pulling into like 15-minute video, it's like 10 to 12 minutes per day. And so he's finished day 1, and Jan Milan's having a party on Thursday night, this Thursday. I don't know if this podcast will be out by then. Jan Milan's having a Young Architects Summer Series party. I think we've got like 35, 40 people, so they were going to attend. It's just a happy hour. We're just going to hang out on Zoom. And nice. Since I got all these people there, what the hell? Let's premiere Chad's videos. And so we're getting ready to show those. And Chad's already started working on day 2. Me and Chad were struggling with finding some music. like he's all tapped out with music. Like, and he ended up subscribing to one of these online YouTube music sites, and we found this one guy who makes this great music, and I think we've like resolved all the music issues. But that was one of the challenges we were struggling with, is let's get some cool hip, music for these things. So we got that resolved. But yeah, so, and then did you meet Ara at the summer series?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm
Ara
not great with the names.
Is one of my boot campers, and he's like this hip hop rap guy. He does a lot of freestyle rap. And
yeah, I saw the song.
Oh yeah, he made a song. He made a rap song about the summer series. And so Chad took the song and created the music video for it. And so we'll showcase that this week at the party as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. I had a good time working on these videos with Chad.
You showed me some last week, and I liked them.
That's the video.
I felt like the edits were pretty smooth. I like the way the graphics worked with the presentation. I thought it was really good. So how many do you guys have done right now?
We changed all the music since you saw it last week, Drew.
Okay.
Yeah, we got
music's hard, man.
I know. We found like this summery reggae tropical beats, and it's all this like cool electronic like. And I said, this is perfect for the summer series. But we just have 2 videos, just the one I showed you last week and the rap video. So
nice.
I'm excited.
If you got anything that you think would be good for my videos, send them my way. I feel like some people have told me I need music on my videos, and I think it'd be cool to throw in there. It's just that it's one of those things where like if it's not right, it's wrong. Yeah. And it doesn't sit right. You got to find the right stuff.
Yeah, I could share with you the site that Chad used. It was a little expensive. I think he paid like $300 a year, but he needed it for other video projects as well. So yeah, I think we've resolved, and we got 5 videos to make. I think this one guy's going to resolve all our problems. But what's cool about these video sites is they let you listen to all the music before you actually join.
And I've gone down the rabbit hole too of like listening to random beats and songs out on some of these websites.
Yeah, it's such a whole thing. Casey Neistat had that on lockdown, finding all this great music for his videos.
I think they were just sending them to him. Oh, dude, how about in Atlanta? One of my friends worked with a guy who was making music, and Casey Neistat used one of his songs, and he said he blew up after that. Like, he's literally done concerts now because Casey Neistat featured him on his blog. There was this other guy who I think pretty much launched a music career because he was featured in a Casey Neistat video. And I follow him still on Instagram. That guy was out here just like giving careers out to musicians and stuff.
Yeah. Casey's got to come back, man. I don't know.
I miss some old Casey Neistat videos. I pulled up some old ones out of nostalgia the other day because I was kind of just bummed out on some things. And it's crazy because 1, they're super good. 2, now I see him riding his boosted board through my neighborhood up here in New York. Like I recognize everywhere he's going. I'm like, I've seen that barber shop. I know what street that's on. I walk down Broadway sometimes. I see his office.
368?
I don't know. Yeah, I've been to 368. Yeah. I got invited to like some.
Oh, that's right.
They had some pop-up mini conference.
I remember that.
2 Januaries ago or something. It was one of the coldest days ever. And they had like a day or 2 before, they were like, hey, apply to this thing for emerging content creators. I applied and I got in, so I got to go. And he wasn't there, but I networked with a bunch of other like photographers and videographers up here in New York and music makers, and some of them flew in. Wow. Like, I met a guy from Atlanta who got it last minute and bought a last minute flight up here to Atlanta. People have got last minute flights from Miami, Tennessee, all over the place. It was crazy. So I've actually been to 368.
That's cool. Does he still have that space? So he's still got the space, right?
Because I have followed his blog too closely. I know that he has, he owns, I think that he cut his space that he had and like,
he gave it to someone else.
Yeah, gave part of it to someone else. But
He's cool.
Like if you go over to where it is, he's still got like cameras out, like GoPros hanging out the window, pointing down at the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. God bless that dude. I remember it was in we were in, what was it, Orlando AIA conference. I was talking to Mike LaValle. That was where I met you, Drew. And I was talking to Mike LaValle, and we were talking about Casey Neistat, and LaValle goes, um, I like it when he's in New York. I don't like the videos he makes when he's in LA. And I thought about it, I was like, you know what? You're right. The New York videos are so much more fun. And when he's just whipping around the city in his studio, cranking shit out.
mm-hmm. Did you see James Altucher? So some guy wrote some New York Times op-ed or something like that, saying that New York City is dead because everybody's moving out. And then Jerry Seinfeld did a rebuttal basically, and he was talking about how like New York City is not going anywhere. He said, "What about Rome? What about Paris? What about the East Village? Do you think that stuff's going to go away?" He said, "Why does everybody gather in Silicon Valley? Why does Silicon Valley exist?"
Yeah.
There's no like, you say, oh, everybody's moving away because of bandwidth, they can just remote in, but like they could always do that in Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the difference between New York is the energy. And the dude said that they were moving out to like Vermont and Tennessee and Florida, and he was like, with all due respect to somebody who's visited those places many times and loves them very, very much, he said, "Are you kidding me?" Like they don't have the energy that New York City has. And it was inspiring to hear him say that, because I felt like it's been hard to see that the last several months. It's been there, the energy's been there, but it's not quite like what it used to be. So kind of being reminded again is cool.
Yeah,
but
it'll come back. We'll all get out of this funk we're in. It's just been a bad year, man.
Mm-hmm.
Tough year for everyone, everything. You've been running this a lot in the city still? I think I saw on Strava you've been running across the what is the Brooklyn Bridge?
The Williamsburg Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is always crowded, but actually not so much recently. But yeah, I go over the Williamsburg Bridge and then come back. But that's kind of hard doing an out and back course. I feel like it's easier to do a loop. So what I did the other day was I went around basically the lower Manhattan. And it might have been a little lower than lower Manhattan. Like technically, I think it should have been at like Houston Street, but that would have been an extra couple of miles. And I did like a 6-mile run and kind of went down like around the Battery and the West Side Highway. There's a name for the park over there. I forget it.
Battery Park.
Yeah, Battery Park, and then like the Greenway, the West Side. Yeah. Greenway River, Hudson River Greenway or something.
Yeah.
And it's been good to getting out there and going for a run, getting a workout in, because the gyms are closed, but I miss the gym though. Yeah, you're doing this you're doing CrossFit and stuff, right?
Yeah, I really like it.
You're running with 16-pound vests.
16-pound vest twice. Yeah, my second workout. I've been going to CrossFit every morning since everything reopened. I guess it was early May. They opened up the gyms in here in Florida. And I just go every morning at 7 a.m. and do the workout. It's brutal. And when I first started, actually I started CrossFit at the end of last year, and then I did a tour out to California. So I was gone for a month from early January to February, and then I just came right back, and then COVID happened. But yeah, I do a 7 a.m. CrossFit, and then I try to go for a run at around 1 or 2 p.m. It's usually the hottest part of the day. So I go with no shirt on and put sunscreen, sunglasses, and sometimes I wear a 16-pound vest just to make it harder. I only do like 2 or 3 miles. I'm not doing longer runs.
Yeah, well, you're doing 16-pound vests. Of course, you're not doing.
But I wear the vest. Yeah.
I don't wear a shirt because it's hot, but I do wear a 16-pound vest.
Yeah. It keeps me. Yeah. So that's what's happening. But I don't know. I love to run.
I think better at the office when I run or work out.
I like to sweat. That's what it's really about. That's why I go during the hottest part of the day. That's why I love being in Florida. That's why I love hot yoga. I just love the heat. I love to sweat.
Mm-hmm. I don't love that, but I love the sunlight and some heat, I guess.
I love riding bikes in New York, man. That's my jam. That's my life. That was my like Siri talk about running over the Williamsburg Bridge, and I just get like, I don't know, I get crazy. I watch this guy. I follow this YouTuber, and I guess he's got like a Ghost Pro strapped to his chest, and he just rides bikes all over New York City, weaving in and out of the traffic and the cabs, and like it makes me crazy. I love it. Like that was my life. I did that for so long. That's like the number one. Like I miss my friends and my family. They're cool, but I miss riding bikes in New York so much. It was like my happy place. It's my favorite place in the world to ride bikes. I miss it so much.
Yeah, I couldn't bring my bike up here with me because it couldn't fit in the U-Haul, number
Yeah.
one, and it wouldn't be able to fit in my apartment even if I could get it up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that up here at some point.
My girlfriend wants to move to New York. She's never lived there. And I would be into it. I would totally be down. It's the winters, man. I just can't handle it.
The winters are brutal.
I can't handle the fucking cold. It's just way too cold for me. So
I know what you mean.
Florida's a good spot. It's summer here all year long. I'm into that.
I want to bring up a talk I got coming up.
Oh yeah, what's going on? Oh, you have that thing with was it Kansas?
Yeah, Kansas State University.
How'd that go? I remember you were talking to them.
Yeah, somebody who goes to Kansas State, I think they were an upcoming second-year student, is what they told me, recommended that they get me to be a speaker because they asked about like, hey, who do you guys want to hear speak?
Yeah,
and
you should buy that student a beer.
I know, right? I asked to figure out who it was, but they couldn't tell me or something, so I gotta ask the right person. But yeah, so they've invited me up to speak to like their incoming, well, it's not necessarily incoming freshmen. I think it's like a professional it's like a professional group, professional program that kind of happens alongside classes. It kind of filling the role of what an AIAS would do, or an Alpha Rho Chi, or NOMAS, or whatever. They're kind of giving you like professional advice on how to be successful. So in the past, they've had speakers talk about goal setting and like networking and personal branding and that kind of thing. But I feel like time management. So it's kind of like how to be successful in general. But, you know, I can talk about how to be successful as a design student. And it's not just architects. They also got interior designers. They got planners. So I'm going to be talking about like how to be successful in architecture school, which is pretty much what I do the YouTube channel on.
Yeah.
And I worked out a little outline. It's been approved. So that's coming up the day after Labor Day. So we were talking earlier about like working out speeches and lectures and whatnot. I'm working that out now. And I'm kind of like step number 2 because I got the outline ready to go. And now it's like, I got to figure out my PowerPoint presentation and work out the actual talk.
I love it. How long do you think your talk will be?
It's filling an hour time slot, but I think it's going to be more like 40 minutes for the talk and then 20 minutes Q&A. And then I'm going to start out by spending some time talking about some of the projects that I've done, just kind of to show, because I had a great job when I first got out of college. I got to work on some award-winning design projects. And, you know, a lot of people don't get to do that. They're kind of doing corporate work. I think that you got to have some kind of inspiration. If people come back and then they're like, all you're doing is corporate work, it sucks, it's boring. Well, nobody's going to work hard at architecture school if that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly true because there are good jobs out there. It's just that they're a little hard to come by. But yeah, so I'm hoping to kind of talk about some projects that I've done in the past, not so much to brag, but kind of just to show like,
yeah,
you know, because I didn't design it. I mean, I got to work on it. I designed little details and stuff like that. But in general, like the general concept came from the principal. But it was still fun working on those projects, and it was easy to stay late on something that I really believed in, something I thought looked good. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about like what it means for something to be good. Because I feel like we live in a world where people say, "Oh, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It's all relative. Just whatever you want, man. It's just live your truth, or whatever
Follow
they say."
your passion.
Yeah, and I think everything's okay if you just do some mental gymnastics and convince yourself it's okay, but that's not true. Like there's things that are good and there's things that are bad. And there's a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and we might have talked about it on here before. I've definitely done a YouTube video on it, and he kind of debunks this it's kind of a postmodernist idea, the idea that everything's relative. And you know, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And the classic example is this: like, you could take the most staunch relativist that there is and put his hand on a hot stove, and he's going to pull his hand away. Why? Because it's bad, and there's no mental gymnastics that you can do to convince yourself it's good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there is such a thing as good and bad in terms of quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you kind of have to define that. And it's hard when you're, you know, a student today, because you get told different things by people trying to sell you stuff. They're trying to tell you beauty's in the eye of the beholder so that they can sell you some ugly house or some ugly clothes that, you know, they think.
Sell you architecture school.
All kinds of things. And, you know, so yeah, and then I'm going to go into a few tips on, like, how do you actually generate stuff? Because most of school, you know, up until college, up until architecture school, is primarily like multiple choice question tests and writing essays about ideas that somebody else already understands, or math problems where the answer is in the back of the book. But in design, there's no answer in the back of the book. Nobody understands it yet. And you're coming up with something new. And that's not what anybody was trained to do. They were trained to be cogs in a machine, and, you know, like an assembly line piece. You just put them in and they're doing this repetitive task. But that's not what anybody's tasked with doing anymore in this world, basically. That's hyperbole. There's obviously people who do that kind of thing, but I don't think it's really sustainable. I don't think it's a good approach to finding a career, because if you can be replaced by somebody cheaper or a machine or a computer, then what are you doing, you know? So the creative side of things, though, I don't think you can outsource that with computers. I don't think you can have somebody in like China, some factory in China, churn out design better than a designer. So it's just that's a different task, right? This creative task is different than picking the right answer or tracing somebody else's thought process. So I'm going to talk about some tips that I have on how to be more successful at that.
I love how you just explained it too. That was a great analogy.
Thank you.
We're kind of breaking down how we've always been trained and educated. Yeah.
That's one of the things that I always liked about architecture school, is also one of the things I always feared and hated about architecture school, because it's hard. You know, it's kind of easy to be kind of take the simple, more analysis type of approach, right? Analysis instead of creativity. But in the long run, right, it may be easy on a micro, but it's not easy on the macro, because it's a little bit more volatile. Whereas with creativity, it's volatile in the micro, but there's always going to be a place in any economy for creatives.
I struggled with school till I got to architecture school. It never made sense to me. I was terrible at following the system, and, like you said, memorizing other people's ideas that they understand. But yeah, I don't know. Architecture school is an amazing place, though. It changed my life. It was, I don't know. I feel like I came out of architecture school as a completely different person. When are you doing this talk? They're going to love it, man.
September 8th.
Okay.
About 2 weeks from now.
Cool. Good for you, Drew.
Thank you.
Is it just you speaking that day, or are there other people?
Yeah, it's just me. And, you know, under normal circumstances, they would fly me out. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So, yeah, I got to set up here in my apartment somehow. And, you know, it'd be cool to get to go there in real life. But also, I don't know, it's cool to do it via Zoom too, because it's like, how many times do you get to do that? You know? Totally.
All right, team, we're going to wrap it up. Me and Drew have just been kind of rambling about a bunch of different topics. Drew, I'm stoked, man. These podcasts are published now. I think, you know, even this episode right now that we're live and we've launched this thing, it should probably only take a day or two. You know, Destiny will jump right on it and help us get this up there. So, yeah, I'm excited to just keep plowing ahead, making more of these episodes with you, Drew.
Awesome. Yeah, man, me too. It feels good to finally have something out. I feel like I got 1,000,001 things I've been saying I'm going to do. And having one that's like, okay, finally we got this one across the starting line anyway. So that's good.
it was weird to like work. I feel like you and I've worked so hard recording this thing and talking about it for like such a long time. And like, yeah, like me and Drew Paul, we're making a new podcast. We haven't launched it yet. It's like, come on. Like, I'm just glad it's like real. Like now me and Drew, we've got a podcast, you know?
I mean, I feel like I mean, I love it. I also
Yeah.
feel like it's kind of has been until it's been released now. It's kind of like one
Yeah.
more thing on my undone list.
Yeah.
Like all the books I have half read, or the things I say I'm going to do. So having
Yeah.
it out now feels like a relief.
And, lesson learned for everyone. We launched this podcast with 6 or 7 episodes. And that was one of the lessons I learned with the Young Architect podcast is, how many times have you seen someone say, I started a new blog, everyone come visit my new blog. And there's like one post there. It says, hey, this is my new blog. And then that's it. You never hear about it ever again. So like I didn't want to announce it to the world until we had like something tangible for people to sink their teeth into and let them digest. So
yeah, good call.
Yeah. All right, man. It was good chatting today. I'll see you next week. We'll do tacos.
All right, man. Sounds
Awesome.
good.